Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as the 3 hours, but hey, it's something. Now, before we get into the main video, you may notice that we are rapidly approaching episode 100. I don't know what the F to do for episode 100, so leave any thoughts you might have in the comments below or whatever. With all that out of the way, let's get right into the news. First, we're going to talk about the most boring part, but also the most celebrated part because we can finally put all of this shit behind us. Donald Trump was acquitted for the impeachment. Literally everybody with 2 brain cells saw this happening. There's really only one slightly interesting part. Here's how the vote breakdown went. 45 Democrats, i.e. all of them. All Democrats voted yes on both articles. Both independents voted yes on both articles. However, on Article 1, Abuse of Power, Mitt Romney decided to break from his party and vote yes, Trump is guilty. But then he decided, no, I'm also gonna say that he didn't obstruct Congress. I don't get that. If you believe that Trump was guilty of the abuse of power, then how could you say that he didn't obstruct Congress? Like, I don't get it. But whatever. The thing is, like, of course everybody saw that impeachment was gonna fail. Except for certain people. I don't know why. But literally everybody in the world was able to realize that this would fail. It was going to die in the Senate. And that's exactly what happened. And, I mean, this whole, technically, now even though most people might not think that, this is technically the official, well, I mean, not even that, kind of the official wrap-up of Russiagate. Now you might say, wait, I thought Russiagate ended with the Mueller report. You fool. Do you really think that they weren't trying to impeach him on Russia with this? You know, they were doing the whole evil foreign government is trying to help them. And it's literally just one country aside from it. They were clearly just trying to do Russiagate, but without saying Russia. Because everybody was tired of the whole Russia thing. But yeah, like, seriously. Everybody knew. The only people who didn't think that impeachment would fail were the establishment Democrats, and then, like, some people who are supposedly on the left, but they were still, like, I don't even know. Like, people like, I think Cenk were saying, like, we need to rally behind impeachment, of course! But I don't get it, like, why? I kind of get the idea. I kind of get the idea of, like, voting on something good and then having it die in the Senate. Like, push Medicare for all and then have it die in the Senate and just point the fingers and say, these are the people who are ruining this. But with impeachment, it usually has the unintended consequence of making the other president, like, the president more popular if it fails. Look at me. Well, I mean, technically, they didn't do that with Johnson, but that was because that was a hugely different time. It was like 100 years ago. In modern day, it's usually been the president gets a little bump in the polls. Like when Bill Clinton was impeached, his improvement went up. People liked him a bit more. And I mean, there were like many impeachable offenses that they could have done, but they didn't. They chose this when they had like a lot of other things that could have gotten a lot more support. And now, here's the big thing. Many people are trying to say, like, we give Romney courage. Romney has the courage to stand up against his party. Like, seriously. You're gonna give Romney Romney's literally just trying to egg the Democrats on for the potential of them liking Romney so much that they'll support him in a potential future bid. Like, Romney's only doing this for political reasons. You might say, well, I mean, but wouldn't he lose the Senate seat? Yeah, but Romney doesn't care about a Senate seat. He's run for president twice already. So I highly suspect that in the next presidential election, he's going to run again. And that's going to be his campaign slogan. His campaign slogan is going to be, I'm going to bring the Republican Party back to what it used to be. I'm going to make Republicans great again. Or something, some bullshit like that. He's going to be like an anti-Trump Republican that is going to try and bring it back to the neoconservative roots of Evan McMullin. Like he wants to try and Evan McMullin be the neocon that Trump wasn't, apparently. Because Trump was being a little too much of a paleocon. So now he has to pull back to the neocon. Because the neocon is just so popular. The only reason Republicans vote for neocons is because they give them the whole abortion bad, gays bad. Like, they give them that. But I mean, otherwise, nobody would care about Mitt Romney. And nobody should care about Mitt Romney. Because even for some reason, like, let me pull it up right now. People are like, Romney is such a maverick against Donald Trump. And it's like, Mitt Romney has voted with Trump 78.8% of the time. And they also lump Ben Sasse in like a maverick against Trump. But Sasse also votes with Trump 86.8% of the time. But Suzanne Collins votes with Trump 67.5% of the time. And she's like, and they're like, oh, she is just in the hands of Trump and the evil Republican Party. Like, you don't level this clearly. Like, there are people who, yeah, she voted for Trump Supreme Court justices. Yeah, so did Romney. But overall, she votes with Trump less than Romney. And yeah, I don't see, in fact, I highly doubt that they're gonna even, they might even push for someone to help save Romney in his inevitable primary for his Utah Senate seat again. So yeah, this impeachment thing is over. Which stinks because, let's say Trump wins another term. Now people can't actually legitimately call for an impeachment on anything that Trump does, because they'll literally just be like, oh, like the last time you tried to impeach him, this is just partisan BS. Like, Democrats, you ruined your chance to impeach. Now, if Trump gets another term, you're going to have to stick with 4 more years of him, because you cannot impeach him. Because the Republicans won't even hear you. They won't even listen. If you try to do it on, like, emoluments clause, you might have actually gotten some Republicans to be like, yeah, hold on. Let me listen. But no. People, for some reason, were just so adamant that Trump would be removed from office and Queen Nancy Pelosi would win. She'd be in the seat. Like, I remember that whole stupid plan that, like, Larry Lessig pointed out. Like, he was like, here's a hypothetical scenario that I think could happen. Trump would get removed because of Russia. Then they'd remove Mike Pence. Then Paul Ryan would give Hillary Clinton the seat because, like, seriously. Whatever. Now moving on to the Democratic side, where we're getting a little more interesting things. Mike Bloomberg is paying influencers to make him seem cool. One day after the Iowa caucuses were, I can't get into that until another story. Billionaire Mike Bloomberg announced that he intended to capitalize on the chaos from the Hawkeye state by doubling the advertising budget for his presidential campaign. But in addition to a flood of traditional advertising on television, radio, and online outlets targeting Super Tuesday voters, the campaign's advertising budget includes a strategy familiar with every other startup with a ton of cash and questionable business model, paying influencers to make it seem cool. The Bloomberg campaign has quietly begun a campaign on Tribe, a branded content marketplace that connects social media influencers with the brand that wants to advertise to their followers, to pitch influencers on highlighting why they love the former New York City mayor for a price. For a fixed $150 fee, the Bloomberg campaign is pitching micro-influencers, someone who has from 1,000 to 100,000 followers in industry parlance, to create original content that tells us why Mike Bloomberg is the electable candidate who can rise above the fray, work across the aisle so all Americans feel heard, and respected. So all Americans feel hard. I'm leaving that in. Okay, so... Oh wait, it even gives like the script that they have. Are you sick of the chaos and infighting overshadowing the issues that matter to most of us? Please express your thoughts verbally for us. Still image post. Please overlay text on why you support Mike. Like what? Okay, so this is hilarious because here's the thing. I mean, it's not hilarious. It's hilarious and not hilarious. Hilarious in the sense that, you know, it's hilarious in the sense that it is like the Mike Bloomberg is like he has to pay people to give him like praise, but it's also like bad because he's, you know, buying the nomination. You know, everybody knows that he's buying the nomination. But I mean, like I imagine this to be like there's this whole internet meme about like Raid Shadow Legends, which is a video game that people have been shilling on YouTube. Like, before this video begins, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. And I mean, it's funny. It's funny because nobody cares about Raid Shadow Legends. But I mean, the hilarious thing is, like, he literally has to... Can you imagine a YouTube video? Like, you're just sitting down watching whatever YouTuber, Markiplier, and he's like, "Hello guys, before we begin, this episode is sponsored by Mike Bloomberg, presidential candidate who I will be casting my ballot for in the 2020 election." Like, can you imagine like something stupid like that? And now many people might say, well, how am I going to know if it's a Mike Bloomberg? Like, seriously. You could tell that they were paid if they're saying Mike Bloomberg is cool, because literally any YouTuber, no YouTuber thinks Mike Bloomberg is cool. If they're a centrist YouTuber, they're going to go for someone like Pete or Amy. 100%. Just facts. Okay, speaking of... So yeah, if any YouTuber says that they like Mike Bloomberg, don't trust them. Speaking of money, GOP affiliated group intervenes in Democratic primary for U.S. Senate seat in North Carolina. The first significant ad buy for the state Senator Erica Smith, a Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in North Carolina, appears to be backed by Republicans. Faith and Power, a new political action committee which ties to Republicans, formally launched on January 29th and spent more than $1.9 million to influence the Democratic primary, according to filings with the Federal Elections Commission and Kantar Media's managing analysis group. The television and radio ads aim to boost Smith over Cal Cunningham, who has been endorsed by the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee and has raised significantly more money. Basically, the advertisement is like, Who's the Democrat for U.S. Senate endorsed by progressives and unions? Erica Smith. Who's got the courage to vote for Medicare for all? Erica Smith. Number one supporter of the Green New Deal? Erica Smith. Basically, this advertisement shills for Erica Smith, and, you know, the whole point is, like, to get progressives to back Erica Smith, which a lot of progressives already do. Like, I mean, Erica Smith is the more progressive candidate than Cal Cunningham, but we currently have 5 Senate candidates: Cal Cunningham, Erica Smith, Trevor Fuller, Steve Swenson, and Atul Goel. I think swap Swenson and Fuller and you got in the polling order. No, I think Erica's polling higher than Cal. No, Cal's polling higher than Erica. But basically, all the candidates on that list, I mean, they don't even poll anything about Fuller or Swenson or Goel. They're really only polling about Smith and Cunningham, because those two are like the two frontrunners of the race. Cal, of course, being the DSCC endorsed candidate, and Erica Smith being usually the go-to candidate of the progressives, at least until recently. You see, I originally planned on voting Erica Smith, because, I mean, she was just, I mean, out of all the candidates, she just seemed the most progressive, even if it's, like, not by much. But, I mean, now I'm switching my vote to Trevor Fuller, because Trevor Fuller is, like, I mean, that ad is actually just a lie, by the way. Like, Erica Smith, she's not talking about Medicare for all at all. She barely talks about the Green New Deal. Like, her support for Medicare for all on her website is literally just expand Medicare for all on her site. Like, here's what happened. I know because I went to her website multiple times. Her original website says, like, expand access to affordable healthcare. And her new website says that whole same thing about affordability of healthcare and blah, blah, blah. But it just has a green square that says Medicare for all on it. And it's like, you didn't change your healthcare plan at all. You just slapped a sticker that says Medicare for all on it. Trevor Fuller, he made a website that goes in depth and saying, like, he supports Medicare for all. Like, even if he's lying to me, he could hypothetically be lying to me, that's fair. But even if he's lying to me, he's doing a better job at lying than you are, Erica. But, like, the thing is, like, I mean, if it goes to a runoff, I'll vote for Erica, because she's the thing. Like, she's the one that's most likely to go to a runoff if a runoff happens. But the thing is, of the two candidates, Cal Cunningham and Erica Smith, both candidates are likely to beat Tom Tillis should either of them become the nominee. They're both likely to beat Tom Tillis because Tom Tillis is just the weaker senator. It would only take a little bit more votes to beat Tom Tillis. So, I mean, in fact, I actually argue that Erica Smith would be the stronger candidate because Erica Smith, she at least knows what to say. She's kind of like a Kamala Harris or an Elizabeth Warren. She's not like progressive like a better candidate, but she knows like the right words, and that's would be inevitably better than Cal Cunningham. Because Cal Cunningham is literally just an empty shrill for the Democratic Party. He was originally running for the lieutenant gubernatorial seat. But then, you know, I guess just a decent amount of money were able to be like, nope, you're running for this seat now. So yeah, Cal Cunningham is probably going to be the candidate. But if Erica was the candidate, I'd probably... Look at me. Okay, I'll just flat out just rank the candidates. Like, let's say ranked choice voting came to North Carolina. Here's how I rank the candidates on my ballot. Trevor Fuller, you know, supports Medicare for all, supports Green New Deal and all that stuff. Erica, she runs on the right stuff, but she doesn't go that far enough. She doesn't say flat out Medicare for all. She says affordable health care. She doesn't say Green New Deal. She says I'm going to fix the environment. Steve Swenson, because Swenson, he actually has an interesting platform. He doesn't have a detailed platform because like his website is like brand new, but he has some interesting platform planks. Like, he talks about repealing. He talks about supporting Roe v. Wade and passing a Sexual Assault and Torture Act, passing a $2 trillion 80-year African American Reparations Act, repealing the authorization of use of military force, and passing a National Security Reconciliation and Accountability Act. Like, his platform is interesting. It's limited, but it's like, it's interesting. Then Atul and Cal can tie. Maybe slightly Atul more than Cal, because Atul, he's like nothing. Like, his platform like is like, I will work to help healthcare. Like, it's like, cool, you're gonna help my healthcare. Cool, bro. Can you give me details? And Cal is pretty much the same thing, except the interesting thing is Cal is like, he's DSCC endorsed, so I automatically am like, I don't trust you that much. Which is ironic because I like Ed Markey, even though he's DSCC endorsed. So yeah, anyways, next story. House approves pro-union labor bill. The House on Thursday approved legislation aimed to protect the workers' rights to unionize. The Protecting the Right to Organize Act, or PRO Act, was approved in a 224-193 vote. The bill is said to be one of the most comprehensive labor packages put forth in recent years. It is not expected to be moved in the Republican Senate. No doubt. But yeah, I'm fully content with this because this is a good bill. It protects the right to unionize. It protects the right to unionize. Now, I'm just saying, it does protect the right to unionize, and it strengthens unions. It basically reforms an old union package, like an old union law, which is terrible. It was like a New Deal law that wasn't that good, because I think it was I don't know, I don't remember the specifics, but it repeals and makes that law more friendly to unions. And many unions were like, this is one of the biggest union support bills that we've had in a million years. This is really good. It'll, of course, die in the Senate, but, that's inevitably going to happen. But the fact that Democrats were able to pull this bill together and get it through was good. I mean, not all of them. You see, first, I'm going to have to say the obvious. Amash didn't like the bill. He's a libertarian. Pro-labor is just not him. But there were some interesting flips. 5 Republicans voted yes on this bill, and 7 Democrats voted no. Here are them now. The 5 Republicans that voted yes: Brian Fitzpatrick, John Katko, Chris Smith, Jeff Van Drew, and Don Young. The 7 Democrats who voted nay are Henry Queller, Joe Cunningham, Kendra S. Horn, Ben McAdams, Lucy McBath, Kurt Schrader, and Stephanie Murphy. So yeah, the ones who did were the ones who were considered the more moderate wings of their party, which is no doubt, because a moderate Republican and a moderate Democrat are just pretty similar. It's literally just names, pretty much. I mean, it's actually kind of ironic. People who consider themselves, it's weird. Jeff Van Drew and Joe Cunningham were part of the same caucus, the Blue Dogs. And yet, Jeff Van Drew, the one who is now a Republican, is supporting this union bill, and Joe Cunningham, who is still a Democrat, is not. Interesting. But before we get into that, let's talk about more Republican stuff. This one is another no-brainer. Joe Walsh ends Republican primary bid against Trump. Joe Walsh is ending his uphill challenge against Donald Trump for the 2020 Republican presidential nomination. He ended his candidacy because he's like, the Republican Party is not the party it used to be. And then, I don't get this stupid notion that the Republican Party has changed. It has not changed at all during the Trump administration. It is not. I remember because, in my university, I have a teacher who was saying, the Republican Party would never nominate Ronald Reagan. This great man was terrible. He couldn't even get dog catcher in his party anymore. I get it. Trump sucks. But you're pretending as if the Republican Party used to be this party of dignity, and then it became that on the day of this. He became, Trump turned it into this beast. Trump didn't turn it into a beast. Reagan was part of the beast. Reagan likened Medicare to socialism. He falsely claimed that liberals were socialists. Literally, that's a huge quote that he said. He's like, famous socialist Norman Thomas said that if he called socialism liberalism, the Americans would adopt socialism. This is a real quote. Reagan is terrible. I hate Reagan. He's not an honorable man. He's anti-gay. He let thousands of gay people die during his administration. And instead focused its attention on, just say no to drugs. And we need to get the black people out because drugs bad, evil, gross. Trump didn't change the party. Trump is just the next step of that change, literally. Reagan hid his evil shittiness with a crude personality, with charm. Joe Walsh and the Tea Party were the next step. They took Reagan and took away the charm and extradized the populism. And Joe Walsh, he was the one who, many people technically, he even attributes himself to the rise of Donald Trump. Like, he's like, I'm ashamed of bringing myself the rise of Donald Trump. Like, seriously. Oh, and by the way, that teacher I was describing is not even, like, he's not even a Republican. He stated, like, he was a huge anti-Nixon guy who would, like, protest the Vietnam War. And I'm like, it's not a poli-sci class, so I can't bring that up, so I'm gonna bring it up to you. Now, let me explain. Why did Walsh lose? Why did Walsh feel the need to drop out? He explains, like, oh, it's because the party it's the party of Trump. Well, I mean, it could also be that you sucked. Your campaign was to Trump's right. You were saying that he wasn't, like, seriously. Walsh's campaign was literally, like, his biggest thing was, like, Trump didn't campaign. He didn't do any of his promises. There is no wall. Like, seriously. He was campaigning that Trump didn't build the wall. And yet Democrats were eating it up like, oh yes, he's trying to bring the Republican Party back to decency. It's like, this is stupid. This is stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. Anybody who is cheering for Walsh to try and beat Trump is stupid. He was saying how he wanted Israel to go from the Gaza Strip to the West Bank. That means goodbye Palestine. That would have caused major Islamic terrorism. Seriously. And the thing is, here's the biggest thing that many people don't realize. Despite the fact that Trump was considered a far-right guy, a further right candidate, unsurprisingly, does not equal more votes. Do you want to know how many votes he got in the Iowa caucus? The only vote that he actually got to participate in? Do you want to know how many votes he got? 348. Now, to be fair, Bill Weld did not get that any better. He got 426. But here's the thing. Weld qualified for a delegate. Walsh did not. Walsh did not even have the ability to get one delegate. And Weld isn't even running to the base that he would win with. If Weld ran on the anti-war stuff, he would be doing way better. But no, they're just running on like, oh, Trump says bad words. I hate the anti-Trump Republicans because they're just so stupid. They can't think clearly on how to win. You beat Trump with real populism, and a libertarian can win with populism because they are populist on stuff. They are populist on drugs. They're populist on it. Run on that. You win. You can do well. If Justin Amash ran like that, this would do well. But no, they can't think clearly. It stinks. Why am I a person? Why am I the one who seems to know more than the strategists behind these big candidates? This is so freaking dumb. I don't get it. Why am I being the genius here? Why am I being the smart one here? Whatever. Speaking of Iowa, there was a huge debacle over the Iowa caucus. Many people were saying, like, this is the big caucus. Everybody's paying attention today. When didn't turn out quite as planned. The Iowa caucus did not turn out the way people intended. Remember, it was considered to be the big caucus. Like, this is the first votes of the 2020 election. This is big. Many people were saying, like, the day before the election, like, this could make or break candidacies. So, what ended up happening? Well, the app that they were using to count the votes crashed. Or, I mean, not even crashed, like, messed up. Like, they messed up. How? Well, apparently they were just mixing up vote totals. They were, like, screwing up on a lot of stuff. Like, basically, they were screwing up, and the results weren't coming in as fast as they normally are. And when the votes did come in, there were a lot of inconsistencies. Many people pointing out, like, individual counties that were doing the vote counts were actually, like, doing the count, and lo and behold, they would not match up with what the app said. In fact, many people point out that candidates like Bernie and Warren and Pete and, like, Biden and Klobuchar and all these other candidates, they were bringing their own people to do the counting on their own, so that if there were any inconsistencies, they could point it out. Bernie especially, because he like, the day after the vote, he, like, printed on, like, an email, like, here are all the inconsistencies that have been going on in this stuff. Many people were pointing out, like, some people who voted for Bernie, or, like, people who voted for Bernie were somehow being switched to vote for Tom Steyer or Deval Patrick. So here's pretty much how it ended up going. Amy got 1 delegate, Joe got 6, Warren got 8, and here's where it gets interesting. Bernie and Pete were the ones who were considered the front runners of this thing, even though it appeared that they were a lot, like the thing is, like, going through the night, you could see that Bernie was clearly doing the best, because, like, I mean, in counties, there were some people who were literally just, like, it was like 12 people in a room, and, like, 11 of them were going to vote for Bernie, and, like, 1 was going to vote for, like, Warren or something. But, like, these, like, you could tell, like, in most of these constituencies, Bernie would do really well. I mean, a YouTuber who participated in the Iowa caucus explained very simply, like, you could see, like, he's like, Bernie, there's a lot of people going in for Bernie, and there were even a lot of supporters for Yang in caucuses. But here's how it ended up going down. 45,826 people voted for Bernie in the caucus. 43,195 people voted for Pete Buttigieg. So it's 25% Pete Buttigieg, 26.6% for Bernie. Yet Pete gets 13 delegates and Bernie gets 12. And I think that there's still 1 delegate that is up for grabs, and that Bernie might get that delegate, but that might be old news. So many people are pointing out this is very wrong. In fact, during this whole debacle, I was comparing it to something that was happening in the Mexican presidential elections. Se cayó el sistema. This is a spoiler for a future video that I'm going to do on the 1988 Mexican presidential election, so let me explain what happened. In the 1988 Mexican presidential election, there were 3 candidates that were considered big. The candidate of the ruling party, the PRI, which had been ruling Mexico for like a couple decades at this point. 1 popular right-wing candidate, and 1 popular left-wing candidate. The left-wing candidate has the last name Cardenas because he was the son of Mexico's most popular president at the time, Lázaro Cárdenas. Now, this was the first time in a while where the PRI had two big opponents. And as such, these two opponents were doing really well in the polls because these were big names. The right-wing candidate was doing really well in the north, whereas the more rural areas was doing better with Cardenas. And he was just doing really well overall. Going into the election night, Cardenas was polling really high. He was in the lead. But then, here's what happened. Like, one day, the computer that they was using to count the ballots, to count all the votes, it crashed. They said, "Se cayó el sistema," meaning the system crashed. Then, when the system was rebooted, all of a sudden, the candidate of the PRI was in the lead, and in a marginally good lead, a lead that Cardenas couldn't catch up with. And the thing is, literally nobody bought that he just magically jumped to the lead. Nobody bought it. The right-wing candidate didn't buy it. Cardenas didn't buy it. Smaller candidates didn't buy it. The people didn't buy it, but it just happened. And then they just moved forward because they couldn't Cardenas could have called foul, or he even could have pointed out and just went to a civil war, but Cardenas didn't. Then, as soon as that president gets elected, he pushes legislation to have all the ballots burned from the 1988 election, thereby removing evidence of any wrongdoing. In fact, the president at the time, literally came out in an interview very recently that he flat out admitted, yeah, we rigged it. But it's passed already, so you can't do anything about it. So yeah, I'm just saying, this does seem se cayó el sistema. This does reek of it. So yeah. This is just obviously a bad thing. Hopefully, Bernie will be able to push out for New Hampshire. Bernie has been touting win, obviously, because he won. He flat out explains it in, many times. I win. I got 6,000 more votes. I won. I say that for Hillary Clinton. She got 3 million more votes than Donald Trump. So I can say it for myself, right? So now on to the smaller candidate of the day. Allison Kennedy of the Socialist Workers' Party. Allison Kennedy is the Socialist Workers' Party candidate. The Socialist Workers' Party, the Socialist Workers' Party, it's a political party that ran the likes of Peter Camejo. It's been around for, since 1938, and I think it was born, out of the older Socialist Party. Yeah. It was born out of the Communist Party and the Socialist Party. It's far left, and it used to be Trotskyist, and then it even became... It actually, at one point, was also Castroist, but now it's just communism and Marxism-Leninism. It runs a paper called The Militant. So yeah, that's Allison Kennedy. So yeah, now let's talk about the debate. This may be my shortest debate breakdown because, honestly, this debate was just boring. Seriously, it was just really boring. Because the thing is, we've gotten to know these candidates already. This is a crowd that we've known for a bit now. Steyer, Klobuchar, Yang, Warren, Biden, Bernie, Buttigieg. We know these guys already. Nothing big was said during the debate. Nothing really of substance was said. Pete Buttigieg was called out on some racist policies. Warren tried to differentiate herself from Bernie by saying, the only people on the stage that aren't run by billionaires is me and Amy. And it's that's not true at all. But, yeah, keep lying to yourself. You literally said that you would take billionaire money in the general election. but go on ahead. Like, seriously, this debate was just boring. Because we've heard everything we've heard. We know, like, Bernie's gonna say Medicare for all. Warren's gonna say slightly similar position to Medicare for all, but not quite. Like, we know what they're gonna say. And I mean, ranking them would just be a similarly easy task. Bernie did the best, but I mean, it's not like he was like, it was mostly due to the fact that he stayed on policy. Yang did decently well, despite the fact that he, again, was kind of just there because he met the threshold. Amy's probably on the bottom because Amy, like, has literally zero substance. She has no reason to being there. You want a moderate with experience? Get Biden. You want a moderate with no experience? Get Pete. Like, Steyer is the rich guy who managed to buy his way on the seat, and not the last one, just the first one. The next one might be more interesting because we'll have Bloomberg on the stage, possibly. But I mean, otherwise, there's not much to say. Bernie stayed good on his policies, but yeah, again, that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess literally that's it. I mean, we didn't even hear Cal Kalinske has posted, like, a thing about, like, the debate, and neither has, like, Humanist Report, I don't think. Like, because this debate is just boring. Nobody cared. I mean, the last debate was seen as, like, a big one because it was, like, the last debate before the voting begins, and this is supposed to be similar because this is the last debate before the New Hampshire primary. But I mean, again, no one, it doesn't matter. We know these candidates at this point. And I mean, it's not like the 2016 election where we had two candidates who were constantly duking it out over the thing. With all these candidates, they all just kind of blend in with each other, especially considering it's like, we have moderate 1, moderate 2, and moderate 3. You get the gender swapped, or you get the gay reboot. Like, seriously, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching this video. I guess make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report.